Okay, welcome everybody. We're doing another book review. The book title is The Witch at the Forest's Edge. Kind of feeling a little weird right now. I usually like to hold a physical copy of the book as I kind of talk about it, but I don't have the physical copy because I gave it to a friend, which should probably tell you something about what I think about this book, because I really value giving people books that I think would be helpful. So let's get into why that happened. Summary. It's not a very complicated book to summarize. It's a very non-dogmatic and cohesive look at how to practice modern traditional witchcraft. Mostly from a philosophical standpoint, such as like ethics and, like communion and relationships with spirits and all the kind of stuff that as a witch you will find yourself doing a lot. It's not a book on Wicca. I actually found this book initially in a bookstore, which is huge. A lot of books in where I am in the United States, they're very focused on Wicca, and you usually have to go to like a store that would specialize in that kind of niche magic kind of thing to find that kind of book. But I found it in a regular bookstore among mostly a bunch of other Wicca and Wiccan Next books. So, I think that says something about how pervasive this book is, how kind of useful it is, and kind of just the fact that traditional witchcraft, people are starting to look into it more kind of as an alternative to Wicca, which is part of the reason why I wanted to talk about it. Good points. I think theory-wise, this is an excellent book for beginners for a number of reasons. There's an emphasis on self-reflection and self-knowledge, which is great. To know thyself, that's a very core tenet in a lot of Western esoteric magic systems. It's very flexible and it's very non-dogmatic, explains kind of like things you can do, like your beliefs and how to form ethics. And even with ancestors, the author explains you don't need to honor just your blood ancestors. You can also honor like your craft ancestors, people you really respected, and just all that kind of stuff. One of the biggest reasons I think it's a good kind of book for beginners, especially beginners who have a little bit of kind of magic under their belt, or at least know a little bit about how to approach the topic, is that the language is easy to understand. It's a well-organized book. It's not flooding you constantly with information. So because of that, I think it's a very approachable book. It does have some shortcomings though. So I kind of noticed that the author puts more emphasis on some things that I think could have used less words, and not enough emphasis on some things that generally beginners would appreciate more. It's a very philosophy, explanatory, terminology heavy book. There aren't really a lot of rituals as people would like to kind of see, because usually in a beginner book you kind of need, like, exercises beyond self-reflection, but most of the time in the book, at the end of each chapter, it's only self-reflection. I would have liked to see something like, maybe having, like, a little meditation exercise or simple ritual in conjunction with the topic of the book, or to reference Robert Anton Wilson's work, assign the reader something to do that's probably innocuous but helpful to the topic of the chapter, or is directly an application of what the person learned. For example, in the section about spirits or ancestors, maybe give the reader the assignment of not only, like, writing down, like, how they conceptualize the spirits and ancestors, but actually finding spirit or honoring an ancestor or something of that. Like, give people a framework to work on that would be very helpful for beginners, which feels like what this book is targeting, other than covens, which I noticed this book encourages covens, but doesn't necessarily recommend them. Speaking of recommendation, it's a book I would recommend for beginners, even with all the caveats. For everybody else, it's a good summary of modern tradcraft. It's good if you want to form an inclusive coven, and that coven might have some beginners. It's a good book. Just keep in mind that it's not a book that is a very typical witchcraft book, and there are some shortcomings in how some things have been structured in this book. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope this was helpful for everyone. If you would like to help me out, at the very least, consider subscribing. I try to post a new video every other Saturday. If you like what you see, you're interested in not just witchcraft, but a lot of other magic, occult topics, I hope to see you around.